Hi guys, Sunita here. I'm going to talk to you guys about same-sex marriages. Let's jump right in. A little background history. The first protest for homosexual rights came about in the 1970s. It was the first time anything was heard, because before then, of course, it was being pushed to the side and hidden. California became the first state to sign into law a bill enabling same-sex couples to register as domestic partners. That was in 1999, and then of course California has been one of the on-off states since then. Uh, Prop 8 was a situation that came up, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they finally allowed, it finally passed, but it took from 1999 all the way up until 2010, 2011 for them to actually implement a bill to allow same-sex marriage in California. Um, in 2004, San Francisco officials, Mayor Gavin Newsom issued marriage license to approximately 4,000 same-sex couples, and of course, a lot of people felt like he had overstepped his authority, so they nullified it. All the marriages that took place were basically were not seen as marriages by the court system. So technically, nobody was married, even with the issues of those marriage licenses. They're not married. In their mind, they felt like they were, but on paper, they weren't. Um, New Zealand. This is just a map showing certain areas where same-sex is legal. New Zealand became one of the first Asia Pacific countries to allow it. In the workplace, the in 1994, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act was introduced, and there was a situation in Ohio that involved a Miss Sherry Hutchison, who, of course, is gay and who thought that she would be treated equally if she spoke up about being gay to her employers instead of trying to hide it and then something happening and then everybody finding out. But of course, it didn't go as planned. One of her colleagues pulled her to the side and said, "You do realize that you won't get promoted because she's gay?" And she was like, "That shouldn't be a reason why I don't get promoted. If anything, that's my personal life. So I'm going to let my work speak for itself." And as it went on, she had been passed up for promotion after promotion, and people who were underqualified were getting promotions. So at that point, she threw in a towel. She was tired, and she decided to fight and build a case. And by the time she built her case, the county decided to settle out of court. And in my opinion, the reason why they do that is because they don't, if they feel like you have great evidence against them and it's going to damage them in some type of way, they want to settle out quickly, clean it up, and just push it out the door. But if they feel like they can beat you, then yeah, they'd rather let you go to court, make a fool of yourself, and then they'll still get a lot of money. They'll get money from you instead of the other way around. But in that case, Hutchison won that. This is just a small consensus of where the Non-Discrimination Act is implemented. The dark blue, of course, is the sexual orientation and gender identity prohibitations, and then the light blue, which is not a lot of places, is just for sexual orientation only. Parenting, I feel like, is a really touchy subject because it involves children, and children are innocent, and no one person in the world wants anything to happen to a child negatively. So in a lot of people's minds, having same-sex parenting is said to damage children's self-esteem, productivity in classrooms, um, become an outcast in schools because of the parents. But yeah, I guess socially they say it's a problem, but educationally, I feel like same-sex parents are better fit because they put in more time and effort into their child's education, wanting them to have better. They take the necessary precautions with their child. They don't just let them go out to the world and fend for themselves and figure it out and then come back and then we talk about it. No, they set them up at an early age, letting them know I'm who I am, you're who you are, and morally, don't be against somebody just because they're different. I feel like heterosexual couples or parenting skills kind of sort of implement that. It happens, unfortunately, but yeah, it's just a personal opinion. But here internationally, Uruguay, first adoption Latin country to allow same-sex adoptions, and then the Netherlands, South Africa, and Sweden. As you can see, countries overseas are more susceptible to allowing same-sex parenting than homeland countries because of religious reasoning, and they seen it as unfit and unsafe, and no child should be exposed to two women showing PDA or two men showing PDA or anything like that. It's wrong. So in Virginia, a consensus clause was implemented into the law to allow religious-based agencies to pick and choose what type of parents get the children within their corporation. It's kind of messy in a way and discriminatory, but the fact that it's part of the law, there's not much that can be done. So as I said before, same-sex couples tend to adopt internationally instead of within home base. In the army, not the army itself, but in the armed forces, there was a law policy that was passed, I want to say a couple of days ago, a couple of days ago, by President Obama. Of course, he was the first president to change the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which of course made it easier for people who were same sex or just gay in general to be able to be comfortable within their uniforms and not have to put on a front or a shelling just because of who they were to keep from getting booted out of the military. So there's a policy that was implemented saying that same-sex couples, they can get 10 days leave to go to the proper states that allow same-sex marriage to go get married, come back, and then the proper paperwork will be put in place to allow them to get the benefits as a couple, as a married couple that are being given out now through the military. Of course, a lot of soldiers that were overseas, once they got word and heard of it, they're like, oh great, I'm putting my 10 days leave so I can go get married to my partner that I've been with for like 10 years, and I couldn't do it because of the prior laws. And of course, most of them were denied because they weren't seen as emergencies. And also, the policy sent confusion among the military aside from the Marines, who granted the policy. The Army and the Navy still working on final touches, and the Air Force haven't even processed it. I don't know why, but chain of command, you have to pretty sure there's a good reason why. In this situation, Specialist Jody Harper, an Ohio National Guard member and Army supply clerk stationed in Kuwait, got word of the new policy, and he immediately applied for his 10 days leave to get married to his longtime companion Craig Roberts in Washington D.C., where gay marriage is legal. And if leave is, and of course, he went to his commanding officer, put in his paperwork, but of course the commanding officer response was, if leave is granted for me to be married, then it's not fair to heterosexuals, said Harper. And this is what happened because overseas, but so I took that as, so just because I'm not heterosexual, I can't go on leave to get married, or if I was heterosexual, you would grant my 10 days leave so I can go get married to my wife, and then I can come back and fight your war. So you're, in a way, he's just right there. That statement itself is discriminatory. Off top, all he could have just said, no, I can't grant your leave because you are part of this deployed segment that's overseas right now, and we can't afford to allow you to go back home unless it is an emergency, unless somebody within your family is sick, dying, or you are the main person on any type of legal documentation that I need to send you home for. Not oh, we can't grant it because if I let you go and get married, then that's smack in the face of heterosexual people. Oh yeah, you're not as important. Um anyways, but the policy was really put in place to try to find a common ground between the two types of marriages, I guess, but it's ruffling quite a few feathers in the process. Um, yeah. Divorce rates. The In the U.S. There's about 2%. There's about a 2% chance a heterosexual marriage will end in divorce in any given year. Comparable figures on gay marriages and other partnerships are limited. So, as you can see, um, there is the percentages for same-sex as of 2011 annual is 2.8% civil, 1.8 limited in Maine. This is just a small consensus of uh, marriages that are more likely to stay than to break up. And over here on this one is gay and straight couples, married and unmarried. Number of respondents: male couples married, male couple married, female couples married, male partners unmarried. You see that big jump from uh, just coupled married is 190,000. It is a big jump from there from coupled married to unmarried to 205,000 people who are more likely to end up in divorce, basically. So yes, same-sex marriage, I feel like it should be allowed. I mean, why do I have to be discriminated against all because of who I fall in love with? Why does that have to be a part of my school, my job, or me having children? It's against all rights and all ways of the Bible uh, to be with someone of the same sex. True, which is in the Bible, it is. But it's also against the Bible to have sex before marriage, to, disrespect your parents, to, shack up. All of those things are in the Bible that aren't right, but people still do it. But when it comes to same-sex marriage, it's wrong. But you can go out and have sex with whomever you want before you get married. You can have all these children out of wedlock and not take care of them, but it's against the law for me to go into my own country, in my own state, and try to help out with the lack of children support or family support for a child because of their family neglecting them due to drugs or other problems. I can't adopt them because I'm the same sex, so I have to go to another country and adopt them. That makes no sense. So I say, same sex should be allowed. This battle that's going on, it shouldn't be a problem. Yes, some people have a problem with it and some people don't believe in it. That's cool. That's okay. And they have their opinions. But nobody's telling them that they can't get married. Nobody's telling them they can't have sex with whomever they want to have sex with. Nobody's telling them they can't have children with whomever they want to have children with, and telling them that nobody's stopping them. And if you really think about it, even African Americans had the right to marry whomever they want to marry. But they, and it was legal. And it was legal. Which, if you think about it, it's kind of interesting, the African Americans were able to marry and have children and all that stuff. But when it comes to people of the same sex, it's wrong. But African Americans were supposed to be treated unequal on all levels, but they weren't. So take a second, think about it, and I hope this presentation helps you to understand that it's not harmful to any way of life if same-sex marriage is allowed. Thank you.